You know, I like talking about prospects. I really do. We'd made videos talking about Newhook and Broberg, and to be fair, I have no idea how those videos are doing. I personally have been avoiding my YouTube analytics for the past week just for mental health purposes, but I love talking about prospects, so let's go ahead and do that here again. The Winnipeg Jets suck, man. I mean, as a Canucks fan, I probably shouldn't be in a position to talk about another team and how bad they are because my team is just terrible, but the Winnipeg Jets have lost 7 straight in a row in regulation. And as a result, they are now down there, tied with Montreal, with 57 points in 51 games played. Montreal is actually 4th because the tiebreaker is wins, and the Jets have a lot more wins than Montreal does, but 2-8-0 in their last 10, 7 straight regulation losses, the recent one coming with a few seconds left in the third period against Nikita Zaitsev of all people. The Jets are in a position where they can't score goals, they can't generate offense, the lines are staying the same, Paul Maurice is going out there with the same formula every game, which is certainly working, right? But the Jets are in a spot where they kind of need a spark. They need more out of their guys, and probably out of their coach as well, too, if I'm going to be honest there. But if you're going into the playoffs with a team that is so dead cold in the water like the Winnipeg Jets are, it probably isn't a good thing. And so we're talking about a prospect here in the Winnipeg system who has been just so up and away crazy good that I'm asking the question, could this guy be the savior sooner rather than later? And obviously, I don't want to make it seem like this guy can come in here and be McDavid, but when you're in a position like the Jets are where they're so bad, they're so poor, I mean, you try to consider all options, right? You try to consider any form of help that could be available to you. And one of those guys might be Cole Perfetti. Cole Perfetti is a top prospect out of the 2020 draft, 19 years old, January 1st, 2002 birthday, 5'10", 185 pounds, a center left wing player. He was the guy nicknamed the Genius in junior hockey, not only because he was one of the smartest guys in high school, he had an average of 93% last year when he was graduating high school, which is actually nuts because I was kind of in that territory in high school, a little bit more actually, so I kind of understand what it means to be a very highly productive high school student. So he was there, really smart in high school, but also really smart out there on the ice. This was a guy who just knew, he understood how to play hockey at an effective pace, and as a result, 111 points in 61 games last year in the OHL as a draft-eligible player. Absolutely nuts over there, by the way. But because the OHL has stopped up, he has not been playing in the OHL this season. In fact, because of that agreement between the AHL, the NHL, and the OHL, whatnot, you have yourselves Cole Perfetti, who is suited up in the Manitoba Moose system. This season in the AHL, he's at 23 points in 28 games played, again, as a recently turned 19-year-old player, and he's a guy who recently got awarded the Rookie of the Month award. Here's what it says from the AHL's website. Perfetti, the AHL's Rookie of the Month, tallied 4 goals and 9 assists for 13 points in 9 total games for the Manitoba Moose last month, including a 7-game point streak. Perfetti had his first multi-point game of his pro career on April 8th, picking up 2 assists in an 8-5 win over Belleville. He recorded 2 more assists in a 3-2 overtime win over the Senators on April 10th, then posted 2 goals and an assist while earning first star honors in a 5-1 victory over Belleville on April 12th. Perfetti kicked off a 5-game series with Stockton by scoring a goal in a 5-2 win on April 22nd, and notched a goal and 2 assists in a 3-0 decision on April 24th. Cole Perfetti was heading into the month of April with 10 points in 20 games played, half a point a game. Okay, cool. But then his month of April was so crazy ballistic. Multiple point games here and there after getting his first one of his pro career earlier in the month. Perfetti has absolutely put everything together over the past few weeks, and if you take a look at some of the highlights, hey, this guy is coming out here pulling off some of that same magic that he had in the OHL last season. At his best, Cole Perfetti could be a slick, fancy, not really super speedy kind of guy, but a guy who just knows what to do to facilitate play in the right direction. No matter what it is, a defensive play where he's in his own zone and does a light little pass back to his D, or a guy who passes it up to a guy in front who's just streaking in with some speed. Cole Perfetti does all these little intricate moves that don't translate on the score sheet, but that just make his team so much better when it comes to progressing the game forward in his team's direction. You take a look at the points and you say, yeah, wow, that's a great point producer. But it's not just that. This guy is an overall beauty of a hockey player who just knows how to make his team better. Not just the players around him better, but the team itself. They're better when Cole Perfetti is out there on the ice. That was a skill set that he boasted in the OHL, and now that it's being brought over to the AHL, hey, you love to see it. This is the kind of guy who definitely has, I would say, #1 play-driving winger potential if you want to keep him as a winger, especially with the fact that you have Dubois and Scheifele already on your squad. I mean, I wouldn't want to have Cole Perfetti developing as a third-line center for his career. But if the Winnipeg Jets go out there and they say one day, okay, boom, we need something. We suck. Let's go out there and try out Perfetti. I'm not the biggest Jets fan in the world, but I'm a big Cole Perfetti fan. I'd love to see what this guy could do at the NHL level so far. And honestly, if you're taking a look at the development and saying, oh, he's only 19, he's only this, he's fresh out of the OHL, honestly, if you told me that Cole Perfetti would have been able to play in the NHL in 2020, 2021 last year, I honestly wouldn't have too much of a difficult time believing you. These guys in the OHL, Marco Rossi, Cole Perfetti, Quinton Byfield as well, they were just so gosh darn good that they honestly, in my mind at least, deserve the right to force themselves into that contention for a spot. Marco Rossi, to me, I thought he probably would have been playing this year. It's just the complications that he had with the illness really slowed him down. Quinton Byfield, he's made his debut already. He's been playing for the Kings, and he honestly hasn't been bad, which is great to see. But hey, Cole Perfetti, man, whether it's this year or next year, I think the Jets are going to get a great player out of this guy. And with how bad the Jets are doing right now, if they called him up tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised, to be fair. It's just a question as to whether or not Kevin Cheveldayoff will go and take that step, and whether or not Paul Maurice would actually go out there and play him. Those are two completely separate discussions away from this Cole Perfetti thing, but hey, at the end of the day, everywhere Perfetti has gone, Perfetti has dominated. And it didn't take him long to do that either. In Saginaw last year, where he was at almost 2 points a game, that was his second season. His first year saw him as an over-point-per-game guy. And he was 16 years old back when he did that. 16 turning 17, and he had more points than some of the guys that were getting drafted that year or who were already drafted, like Owen Tippett and Philip Tomasino and Connor McMichael, Liam Foudy and Barrett Hayton of all people too. So, for Cole Perfetti to come out here as that guy who was just so good fresh onto the scene, finish things off by topping the OHL in points just behind Marco Rossi, who is an absolute god amongst men as well. I mean, you've got a lot to look forward to, because this guy adapted so quickly to the AHL. He was really good at the World Juniors as well. I mean, under a point per game is not the best on Team Canada, but that team was just so stacked, it's kind of fine either way. But talk to me in the comments what you thought about Cole Perfetti and this entire thing here, the Jets, how bad they have been, and whether or not they should, could, or would play Perfetti. I'm certainly on the train, but let me know in the comments if you are as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Trolls99, and bye.